A fresh report has revealed that 27% of Nigerian men who underwent paternity testing were not biological fathers of their children. More than 1 in 4 children born to Nigerian men may not have been sired by them, according to this report. The 2024 report on DNA testing trends in Nigeria, covering July 2023 to June 2024, according to the center, seeks to shed light on societal dynamics, economic factors, and the changing family structures in Nigeria. Now, compared to a similar report released last year, the number of children for which their supposed fathers were not actually responsible rose by less than 1%, that is 0.88%. Polarized analyst Dayo Sobowale joins us now to share his perspective on the situation, the emotional backlash, and for how long it has festered in the country. Good afternoon, Mr. Sobowale. It's always great to have you on the program.
Good afternoon. It's a pleasure being here as usual.
Right. It's great to take a moment away from politics and look at human interest issues, right? Your initial reactions to this report?
It's an exaggeration. My initial reactions are exaggeration. And you see, there is no backlash on this sort of thing. Because if you are talking of research, it's a small segment of the society that is at play here. And it's a promotional thing. The DNA testing company is promoting its wares, sort of. And we should not be unduly alarmed over that. I'm not bothered. And at first, I wanted to dismiss it as a generational issue. But then, if we must discuss it, it must be in the context of our politics. We can't run away from it. In the context of our culture and religion. You see, there are 2 main religions in Nigeria. This issue, the conclusion from it is that adultery is prevalent in society and there is immorality. You get me? But that is, you see, it's not a perfect society, but you can't draw that conclusion from this small-scale methodology of research. You can't draw it from that. Islam and Christianity have a punishment for adultery. Stone you to death. They still don't, okay, in the modern world now, you don't do it. But in some strictly Muslim communities, they still do it, though the deterrence is there. And you see, even they, by their own wisdom, admitted that the issue of DNA testing revealing fake paternity or false paternity just increased by less than 1%. I don't want to be taken into that. And on the strength of this, you don't have to condemn the entire society. That's why I say it's an exaggeration, it's alarmist. That we, our cultural standards and moral standards are in place. But for those of, I won't say your generation, those Japa, you are always mentioning Japa, those going away, you see, they put their future in jeopardy. You want to run away, and the Americans, you see, it's a sort of immigration control. Look at what is happening in the border with Mexico. The whole of Latin America, all the nations, they are flocking to the United States. And the Biden administration has an open border policy, which is causing problems between them and Trump, who was trying to build a wall to stem the tide. So I think these foreign nations, especially US and Canada, those are the favorite places. I think people have gotten tired of going to Britain now. Get me? These 2 places want to stem the tide. Get me? But if you, in spite of that, you see, I'm not against DAPA per se. If you have skills that are not recognized here, if you have skills that you have no equipment to use here, you are at liberty to go elsewhere. In fact, there are some countries that encourage highly skilled personnel, doctors, scientists, and so on, to come. The whole of Western Europe, EU nations, they encourage people. But if you just decide one day because you have seen your neighbor coming back home to spend $1,000 and buy up the whole place, you just want to go on account of that, it's your funeral, if you do not end up well. And some people, you can read it, they have died on the Atlantic Ocean, the Mediterranean crossing into Europe, And then you have this hostile attitude of European nations now. They are going right. The election in Germany of recent, some states, some right-wing parties who don't want strangers in their midst. They are winning elections. Because they want to keep people away. And the reason is not far-fetched. Middle Easterners who are Muslims, when they went to Europe, they don't integrate. They still want to practice their religion in a different cultural setting. And that creates tension. That's why you had the riot in England the other time. So let people learn to respect their nation, the values of their nation, and not go about dismantling their entire families just because they want to do DNA testing. Let's leave it at that for now.
But
you know, I've been very generous.
Well, you still found a way to bring politics inside. Well, okay, I want to ask if you foresee any, because it's already kind of there on social media.
Yes.
If you foresee any backlash or significant public debate rising from
You're
this
already
report,
debating it.
Particularly regarding interest in relationships and potential for stigmatization of women, because obviously this is something that will be blamed on women, this paternity.
But if you do paternity, nobody does maternity test. You are carrying the something.
Yes.
It's the paternity. You see, and that is the problem. I will go into cultural issues and politics now. You see, marriage is between the man and the woman. The places where these people are migrating to, they can't even recognize a man now. And they think marriage is not between a man and a woman alone. And yet, people are japa in there, to use your expression. See? And those who are unfortunate not to japa there, they have the misfortune of, living with the horrible knowledge that they are not fathers of their own children. Do you get me? So it's an avoidable, extravagant test. You get me? Society is based on the morals of the society.
So you're saying that
the law,
if a man suspects, he'd rather not know, as opposed to go and doing that test. He should
if
just
a man
continue.
suspects, it depends on the man. See, invariably, these things don't matter unless when you are talking of succession or inheritance.
Inheritance, yes.
You get me? And things like that, or trying to distribute property. Otherwise, ignorance can be very blissful. You get me? Then God gets sad over what you don't know. And society has moved along on that. I was going to give an example, but it will involve some people. So your next question.
All right. Well, they're saying just over 70% of these DNA tests are requested in Lagos. So there's two factors there to
Lagos,
consider.
Mostly mainland and island.
Exactly.
And
to be very clear. Yes, the breakdown it's a pretty interesting breakdown.
Yeah.
Now, of course, we know that it also reflects a possible lack of infrastructure of labs around in other parts of the country. But besides that, let's talk about Lagos.
Yes.
Do you think that Lagos is quickly evolving out of what we may call traditional values and starting to embrace?
Again, I tell you, this thing is an exaggeration. I was born and bred
I know
there.
you're in Lagos. That's why I asked you. You're in Lagos.
Okay, I will tell you something now. You see, some elderly women, some, maybe my own grandmother, some, when they die, you get me? You see their children with about 3-4 surnames. You get me? So obviously, they married more than one man. But that has not disrupted society. It's accepted. The family lives together.
Okay.
All right, then thank you. Thank you so much, Mr. Sobowale. Of course,
Yes.
It's always a pleasure having you on the show.